Myself, I hold up as an example. I had money, I had a career, I looked like a very successful woman, and yet I lived in fear night after night. I hid it from the press. The important thing to remember here is that this can affect your work. I was frightened that the press would find out and somehow I'd lose my contract. So I kept it from the press. I was isolated. The other thing, of course, is that families often don't know what's going on because part of the abuser's way is to isolate the victim. So you have no one to talk to. You don't talk about it. You don't. Friends come round. I mean, I was lucky. I actually started to tell my friends, so they would back me up if they came for a meal. You know, they'd make sure. But then they could never be sure because once the door's shut, who knows? There is a call to the police every minute, 24/7 in this country, and 2 women a week are killed by their partners, and 75% of calls relating to domestic violence are not reported to the police. This is endemic in our society, and one of the reasons I'm sitting in front of you is that perception of the kind of woman who is attacked in her own home is completely and utterly wrong. On a Saturday night with a drunken husband, it affects every single class and culture of society. And one of the most important things also to understand, and why I'm talking to you in reference to refuges and backup, is that the greatest risk for a woman is not the running away. Yes, it takes 7 attempts normally to leave. 7 attempts. And again, it's very hard for the outside world. Well, why? He hits her. Why doesn't she leave? Why is she so pathetic? What about the children? What you need to understand is that it's the most tiring, the most degrading, the most debilitating thing that can happen in your life. I was abused for 16 years, and every day I got up, it took all my energy just to get through the day. There wasn't any time left to think about running away. And society, it has improved, let me tell you, and the police do a fantastic job as much as they can. But you have to understand that day in, day out, you live in total fear in your own home. And the energy required to get your children to school when you've been locked in the living room all night or had a knife to your throat all night is phenomenal. So 7 attempts to leave doesn't seem that much, does it? In my experience, it is the hardest thing to leave. And as I say, the most dangerous part for a woman is the period just after she's left. But if you have somewhere to go, people who understand what you're feeling, people who can get you through the day, it is vital. Domestic violence, can you believe, affects every single facet of our society, right through the workplace. Can you imagine how many people go to work in a morning or actually don't turn up for work because they've been beaten up? It's not just actually the physical violence, it's the mental abuse. To be told day in, day out that you're useless, and then you get to work and something goes wrong. Who do you tell? You feel useless. You perform badly. £1.9 billion is lost every year in the workplace due to domestic violence. Children who witness domestic violence then go on to commit violence themselves. If you think about our society at the moment, violence is everywhere. So if you have it in your home, never mind in a video, on television, in a film, walking down the street, if you face it day in, day out, in your own living room, believe you me, it's a very hard thing to break away from. And one of the other biggest things in our society at the moment, it's fantastic, we are a multicultural society, but there are cultures, unfortunately, who accept it as part of a relationship between a man and a woman. It's against the law. And as long as we have laws, we must enforce those laws. And that will do away with a cry of racism, or you don't understand my culture, or it's against my religion. No, it's very simple. It's like drinking and driving. If you're driving, don't drink. I want this country to accept it is totally not acceptable to hit a woman, or for a man or for a woman to hit a man. Don't get me wrong. The increase of violence from young men against their mothers is phenomenal. So the police then can deal with it. You can turn round. If you're not capable of talking to your husband, call the police. It is against the law.